Hi, how's it going? This is Resident of Collinwood for YouTube. Here to do a Dark Shadows video for you guys and gals, and I am really excited because I'm doing a character retrospective of Dirk Wilkins. Now, you might ask, why did I pick this specific character? Of all the characters I could have talked about tonight, why did I pick this one? Well, because it involves our buddy Barnabas, of course. So, why not? But it doesn't just involve Barnabas, it does involve Laura Collins, the Phoenix. So there's a lot to get to here with this video. So, now, Dirk Wilkins was played by actor Roger Davis. No, this is not Roger Davis. For those who don't know or have never watched Dark Shadows, this is not Roger Davis's first character. In fact, Roger Davis's first character would be a man named Peter Bradford. He also played a character named Jeff Clark. And yes, you learned that Jeff Clark is Peter Bradford. So, because, just saying. Then he plays the brother of Sabrina, whose name I forget at this exact moment. So, and by the way, when they meet the guy, the brother of Sabrina, when people meet him, they constantly remind him when he first shows up that he looks like Peter Bradford / Jeff Clark. And he goes, "Well, I'm not that guy." And he's not. He's right. He's not. You gotta love the writer's sense of humor because it's just funny as hell. So, Dirk Wilkins, played by actor Roger Davis, is related to isn't necessarily related to anybody here, but he is the caretaker and the groundskeeper. He takes care of the horses. He helps take care of the horses. He is basically I guess you could say, in a lot of ways, he helps carry a lot of the load. But he's not the only servant in the house. He does a lot of the physical labor, we'll say, of what a man should do: chop wood, take care of horses, etc., etc. So he works for the Collins family. And working for the Collins family ain't like working for the fucking Brady Bunch here. It comes with a very it should, at least it should. It doesn't, but it should. Working for the Collins family should come with a hazardous warning. You may experience either A, death, B, you may experience the afterlife by getting bit by a vampire. You also may experience the afterlife by being ripped apart by a werewolf, or Angelique will kill you, or a ghost will possess you. I don't think a ghost ever possessed a servant. I don't think, not that I remember. So, oh my God. But now, does a ghost possess Roger Davis's character here, Dirk Wilkins? No, he gets controlled by Laura Collins, who is the wife of Edward Collins, who is the mother. By the way, Laura Collins is a phoenix, a bird of fire. Yes, a fucking phoenix. And no, this is not the first time she played this role. This is going to be the second time. She here is. Now, there are differences, I will say. Again, this is about Dirk, but I have to include Laura and Barnabas into this. So, Laura here is, instead of being the mother of one child in the 1960s, David Collins, she's actually the mother of both children, Jameson Collins and Nora Collins, Jameson's little sister. So, that's something I found really interesting most about this here, is that instead of having just one child to contend with, now she has two to take with her, to attempt to take with her to the other plane of existence. You might ask, well, what does that mean? Well, from the previous storyline, it means engulfing a kid in flames and taking them with you. Yes, you heard me correctly, and no, I'm not exaggerating. That's the story. That doesn't happen. To be clear, she does. No child gets engulfed in flames. No child is set on fire. I want to be very clear here. Do not demonetize this video. Um, just saying, look, Dark Shadows is a fun, loving show full of vampires, werewolves, phoenix, a mage, death, life, some more death, some ghosts, some time travel. It's a family show, okay? Uh, yeah, but so what happens here is because Quentin is messing with her and knows that this woman has some sort of power, is at least a phoenix, and is going to do everything to stop her, he puts out this flame that will help her. Well, now she needs heat. Well, enter Dirk Wilkins, who's already there because he works for the Collins family. Well, she not only takes some of his heat, he goes, you could come to me anytime. Because here's the thing, Dirk Wilkins is in love with Laura Collins. And I mean, it's not hard to see why. Delana Malay is absolutely smoking hot, okay? The women of Dark Shadows are all smoking hot, okay? They are all beautiful, okay? So, that being said, it's not hard to see why Dirk Wilkins is so infatuated with her. She's beautiful. It's not just her heat, because even after she's gone, because of Angelique, Dirk is still wanting her back. Um, Now, this is very interesting here, because what happens during the Phoenix sort of storyline within the 1897 storyline is Barnabas bites Dirk Wilkins. He's feeding on him. We see Dirk Wilkins sitting in a corner with his neck bleeding. Barnabas has bitten the hell out of him. And this is going to ultimately cause Dirk Wilkins to become a vampire. Now, does Dirk Wilkins actually kill anybody? Yes, he actually is. And yes, I'm going to give Barnabas some blame here, because this is his fucking fault. This is all Barnabas's fault, okay? Dirk Wilkins being a vampire and killing people is Barnabas's fault, okay? I don't know what I don't know what Def's quota was before Barnabas showed up in 1897. And I've often joked about this, but this is true. I don't know if it was good or bad. Okay, I don't know if Def's quota was like on the rise or on a decline. But once our buddy Barnabas started showing up, business was a booming. Okay, so so here's what happens. Pansy Faye is killed by Dirk. Carl is killed by Barnabas. Now Judith isn't. To be clear, Judith Collins, and Tim Shaw aren't killed, but they are tormented by Dirk Wilkins, who's a vampire. Actually, Judith is put under his control. So that being said, what he does, he has her murder Rachel Drummond. So Judith is under Dirk Wilkins' vampiric powers, uses his powers of hypnosis and mind control to have Judith Collins shoot and murder Rachel Drummond. That's right, Kathleen Lee Scott's character is murdered on the show by Judith. With and by the way, Barnabas doesn't stop it. It happens. Again, it's Barnabas. Does anybody want to work for Barnabas? Anybody? Do you want this guy to help you? I love Barnabas. I love Barnabas to death. But this is just crazy. And it's so. I laugh because this show is so much fun. And it really is. The writers are just having way too much fun with this storyline, and you can tell too. Everybody's just having a good old time in 1897. From the actors to the characters they play. It's You have to understand too. It's also interesting that Dirk Wilkins, just because he's a vampire, doesn't mean he understands what exactly all goes into um, the Phoenix. Meaning, just because you got turned into a supernatural creature doesn't mean you understand other supernatural creatures yourself. Dirk Wilkins doesn't learn any kind of new knowledge uh, within the Phoenix herself. He doesn't learn how to get her back. He doesn't know that if he just waits 100 years, she'll show back up. He doesn't know that, and nobody tells him either. This is why he's frustrated. This is why he does what he does. He wants Laura Collins back for himself. He loved her. He wanted to be with her. Yes, despite Dirk Wilkins' murderous rage and sadisticness, this is all over love. You heard me right. This is all over love. And thank God it is, because you know what? I can understand his murderous rage. I can understand why he's upset, because this is all, again, this is Quentin and this is Barnabas's doing. And really, the writers, I love them for this, because this is a very creative idea. Okay, how are we going to get focus off of Barnabas, who could be accused of a vampire? You know what we're going to do? We're going to turn Dirk, and that's what Barnabas's master plan is. He's going to make everybody think Dirk Wilkins was the vampire the whole time. And here's the thing: it somewhat works until people start questioning it. But there are questions like, wait, was Dirk always a vampire? No, he wasn't. So what happened to him? How did that happen? So questions get asked, and it's finally Pansy Faye who comes to Carl in a dream. This is why Carl is ultimately, one of the reasons Carl is ultimately killed, because that leads to his death, him going to the mausoleum, discovering Barnabas. He shows Quentin. Quentin locks him in the mausoleum. Carl figures out how to get out, and he's killed in the great house anyway. That will lead to Reverend Gregory Trask confronting Barnabas at the old house, and then people do figure out Barnabas is a vampire anyway. So the whole, really, if you really want to know, basically Rachel Dratman died for nothing. Rachel. Poor Rachel. That's so wrong. Oh my god. But no, really, really well written character. Though I don't necessarily love the means to the end thing, and how basically they look, no matter what, Barnabas was going to get exposed in 1897. Hell, Angelique predicted that. Hey, you're going to get exposed. Somebody's going to try to stake you. She told him so. And guess what? Angelique was right. It just happened to be a doppelganger Barnabas that Angelique created that got the stake through the heart. So our real Barnabas is still alive. Dirk Wilkins, not so much. He was destroyed, but Edward follows Judith and stakes Dirk in the heart. As my buddy Patrick McRae has put it, Edward Collins becomes a monster hunter in every way he does. He not only hunts down Dirk Wilkins as soon as he finds it, he's also hunting down a werewolf who is Quentin, that he doesn't know it yet, and we'll never know. And he's hunting down Barnabas once he finds out about Barnabas. So Edward is a busy dude, and Dirk Wilkins, well, he was busy until he got staked through the heart. Okay? He was a perfectly normal guy until Laura Collins showed up, and then Barnabas bit his ass. I mean, I guess you're not that normal. You know what? I take that back. You're not that normal. Oh no! You know what? Quentin fell in love with her too. He had sex with her too. He went to Egypt with her. He went to Alexandria with her. What is it with these men? They keep falling for strange women with supernatural powers. You gotta love Dark Shadows and all its fun that it provides, and it provides plenty, my friends. That's the end of my character retrospective. Yeah, the character only lasts 20 episodes, so well, he's only on for 20 episodes, I should say. But a really interesting way to get rid of a character and to use a character. Dark Shadows really was smart for how it used some of its side characters. Because there are things you just aren't expecting to happen. Like, I honestly, when I watched Dark Shadows for the first time, I wasn't expecting Dirk Wilkins to be a vampire. And even when you go back and watch it, you think, yeah, that's still pretty shocking that that happens. Um, because you figured Barnabas would prevent it, but no, here's how the writers are going to address that situation. They're going to make him a scapegoat, but it doesn't last too long, though. It lasts long enough. But because there are things Barnabas does that draw suspicion toward him. For example, when the Phoenix sets a locked room on fire that the kids are in, Barnabas uses his vampiric powers to disappear, go inside, and rescue the kids, or help rescue the kids, because Edward does get the door down. But that's that. So again, this Barnabas, but though Barnabas tells it as he climbed out the window and climbed. He climbed the window. Barnabas, the climber, cliffhanger Barnabas. Somebody needs to make a cliffhanger shirt, but instead of it being Sylvester Stallone, it needs to be Jonathan Fritz Barnabas Collins. Now that's an idea. Alright, you guys have a really great night and take care and God bless.